In 2007, General Wesley Clark revealed the plan.
Some hard-nosed people took over the direction of American policy, and they never bothered to inform the rest of us. I went through the Pentagon 10 days after 9/11. I couldn't stay away from Mother Army. I went back there to see Don Rumsfeld. I'd worked for him as a White House fellow in the 1970s. All this is in the book. I went downstairs. I was leaving the Pentagon, and an officer from the Joint Staff called me into his office and said, I want you to know, he said, "Sir, we're going to attack Iraq." And I said, "Why?" He said, "We don't know." He said, I said, "Well, did they tie Saddam to 9/11? He said, "No." And then we attacked Afghanistan. I was pretty happy about that. We should have. And then I came back to the Pentagon about 6 weeks later. I saw the same officer. I said, why haven't we attacked Iraq? We still going to attack Iraq? He said, "Oh, sir," he says, "it's worse than that." He said, he pulled up a piece of paper off his desk. He said, "I just got this memo from the Secretary of Defense's office. It says we're going to attack and destroy the governments in 7 countries in 5 years. We're going to start with Iraq, and then we're going to move to Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Iran." I said, 7 countries in 5 years. I said, "Is that a classified memo?" He said, "Yes, sir." I said, "Well, don't show it to me." He was about to show it to me. He said, "Because I want to talk about it." And I sat on this information for a long time, for about 6 or 8 months. I was so stunned by this, I couldn't begin to talk about it. And I couldn't believe it would really be true, but that's actually what happened. They wanted us to destabilize the Middle East, turn it upside down, make it under our control. It went back to those comments in 1991. Now, did anybody ever tell you that? Was there a national dialogue on this? Did senators and congressmen stand up and denounce this plan? Was there a full-fledged American debate on it? Absolutely not. And there still isn't.
7 countries: Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finally, Iran. Step by step, they've executed this script. This was not about terrorism. It was never about freedom. It was a blueprint for domination. They needed a story. They needed fear. They gave you 9/11ths.
How many people know that on the morning of 9/11, a lady looked out of her apartment in New Jersey, looking over to the burning tower, the first one, and saw 5 Middle Eastern-looking men filming it, high-fiving and cheering? She took them to be Arabic. She called the police. The police eventually tracked them down. They were traveling around in a white van. They were Israelis. They became known as the Dancing Israelis. They were arrested and kept in custody for 71 days until the ultra-Zionist head of the criminal division of the Justice Department, Michael Chertoff, released them. And how many people know that the same Michael Chertoff released the 200 arrested in the spy ring? And they went back to Israel. These 5 dancing Israelis, 2 of which were known by the police to be Mossad agents, said that they were there to document the event. Well, hold on, how did you know it was going to happen?
They gave you lies about weapons of mass destruction.
Mr. Bush, when are you going to apologize for the million Iraqis that are dead because you lied? You lied about weapons of mass destruction. You lied about connections to 9/11. You lied about Iraq being a threat. You sent me to Iraq. You sent me to Iraq in 2003. My friends are dead. You killed people. You lied. You lied about WMD. A million Iraqis are dead because you lied. My friends are dead because you lied. You need to apologize. Apologize.
They manufactured enemies, and they told the world, Islam is the threat. But let me ask you, why is Islam their target? Why are Muslims painted as villains in every movie, every news report, every speech? Because Islam is the only system that threatens their empire. Islam bans usury, riba, their banks collapse. Islam bans gambling, their casinos die. Islam bans alcohol, drugs, and porn, their billion-dollar addictions end. Islam protects women's honor, they can't exploit her body for profit. Islam commands family, children, and lineage, their depopulation agenda fails. Islam enforces zakat and justice, their corruption is exposed. Every major industry that feeds their parasitic corporations, Islam destroys with one ayah from the Quran. They corrupted other religions. They rewrote scriptures. They fabricated stories. But the Quran, they failed. For 1,400 years, every attempt to change it has failed. Allah tells us in the Quran, "Indeed, it is we who sent down the Quran, and indeed, we will be its guardian." 15-9. The Quran is the last revelation, protected by Allah Himself. That's why they hate it, because it is incorruptible. And before you run to the comments with your recycled insults, ask yourself, have you even read the Quran? Do you know what you're accusing? Read it first. Find the evidence for your claim, and then try to use it against Islam. You can't, because the truth will expose your lies before your lies expose Islam. They want to destroy families. Islam builds families. They push gender confusion. Islam protects identity. They say the world is overpopulated and demand depopulation.
I would like to reduce the number of people on the planet because there's too many of us.
When we invest in clean energy and electric vehicles and reduce population.
Now, the world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that.
We're taking things that are, genetically modified organisms, and we're injecting them in little kids' arms. We just shoot them right into the vein.
Of reducing population growth, that's this big benefit. The key thing you can do to reduce population growth is actually improve health.
In the developed countries, the big winners are countries that have shrinking populations.
All the religious groups are against me because I'm talking about population. They want more souls, I want less on the planet.
But ask them this, if they want depopulation so badly, why not start with their own family first? Even before 9/11, they branded Muslims as terrorists. And when they couldn't find terrorists, they created them, fake organizations, funded, trained, and armed by their own agencies.
To be fair, we had helped to create the problem we're now fighting. How? Because when the Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan, we had this brilliant idea that we were going to come to Pakistan and create a force of mujahideen, equip them with Stinger missiles and everything else to go after the Soviets inside Afghanistan. And we were successful. The Soviets left Afghanistan, and then we said, great, goodbye, leaving these trained people who were fanatical in Afghanistan and Pakistan, leaving them well armed, creating a mess, frankly, that at the time we didn't really recognize. We were just so happy to see the Soviet Union fall, and we thought, okay, fine, we're okay now, everything's going to be so much better. Now you look back, the people we're fighting today, we were supporting in the fight against the Soviets.
We've set out to overthrow functioning constitutional democracies in over 20 countries. We manipulated elections in dozens of countries. We created standing armies and directed them to fight. We went after to organize ethnic minorities to encourage them to revolt. The first thing we did in Nicaragua was to go to the Mosquito Indians, who had never gotten along with the other people in Nicaragua very well, and give them more money than they had seen in the entirety of history, and arms and training and rationales and sanctuaries in Honduras, and sent them into Nicaragua to attack, kill, fight, rape, burn, pillage. And this has been a technique the CIA has used in Nicaragua, in Thailand, in Vietnam, in Laos, in the Congo, in Iran, Iraq with the Kurds, in different parts of the world. We created, trained, and funded death squads like the Treasury Police in El Salvador. And we've assassinated world leaders. These things are all done in countries of the third world where the governments don't have the power to force the United States to stop destabilizing the country and brutalizing their people.
ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram, tools of chaos. One stone, two birds. Steal resources from nations and fuel hatred against Islam. The truth is simple. Islam is not their enemy because it's violent. Islam is their enemy because it is pure, because it is incorruptible, because it is the only system that stands in the way of their new world order. This is Veilbreaker, and this was the truth they don't want you to hear. If this truth resonates with you, subscribe to Veilbreaker, share this video, and always remember, truth is not for the weak, it is for the brave.